Could Disney be destroying Star Wars on purpose? I don't know. It kind of feels
No,
like Elon Musk is destroying Twitter on
no.
purpose almost. But no, Disney's not. I don't think they're destroying it on purpose.
I just don't think they know what the hell they're doing, and they're like so out of touch that it's at the point where I'm gonna say if Ahsoka bombs, and I don't think it will because it's Dave Filoni, but I've been wrong before. If Ahsoka bombs, I am pretty much done, and I'm just
Yeah.
going to cover George Lucas era of Star Wars. I'll cover some of the games, only the specific things I like, but I'll just like basically go back to what the channel used to be.
Yeah. Well, you know what I've been thinking about too? We can talk about this more off air or whatever, but remember how you had the idea of like doing more of a just talking about all kinds of like nerdy stuff and just like all the pop culture stuff? If Ahsoka really does fail horribly, and that what I guess to define fail, it would have to like not be as good to me as well as to the fan base. Like, I'm not sure what Ahsoka will do numbers wise, but it might be like absolutely phenomenal. And I think a lot of Star Wars fans could latch onto it if it's like really great, right? But if it's like just okay and it also bombs in numbers, that's going to be absolutely horrible for the brand. And I think a lot of us are so disengaged with Star Wars that like, why would we stick around for more mid, more even good? Like, I think at this point it needs to be great. I don't know if that
Yeah,
happens and this shit falls apart completely. Maybe we just kind of turn nerd theory into that.
pop culture
We don't
theory.
even no, we just call it nerd theory. Technically, Star Wars isn't even in the name. And we just start talking about everything that goes on in the week, DC, Marvel,
I'm
Invincible,
I'm so
all that
cool with
kind of
that.
shit.
Everything
Yeah.
news, I am very cool with that. We
So
could
we'll
have our
see.
own channel, call it Nerd Theory, and it would just be us bringing on guests and talking to like important people out there, and yeah,
Yeah, we could
we could have our
absolutely
own
do that.
podcast.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm down
But
for it.
hopefully, Ahsoka's just absolutely incredible and the Star Wars train is, back on track. And that would be really great. I think we're marching towards some kind of turning point, one way or another. You know what I mean? When
Yeah,
it
I
comes
think
to
so
Ahsoka.
too, and I don't think it's gonna be like this forever. It'll either get worse or things will change. And I really hope with Ahsoka, Ahsoka is the last hope. You want to talk about the Last Jedi? That's Ahsoka. You want to talk about the A New Hope? That's Ahsoka. It's more like the
Mm-hmm.
last hope. And if this
Yep.
bombs, and my fear with Ahsoka is not even that if it'll be good, but it's like, do people even care anymore?
Yeah.
So I want to see a show of hands, everyone in chat right now. If you have been displeased with Star Wars, I want you to hit one just once. If you have loved everything that's come out and you're super happy about it, as if George Lucas was still running Star Wars or even better for you, I want you to hit two. And I want to see what you guys are. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder how many of the people even watching are like really excited for Ahsoka, or like where's people's like hype level for Ahsoka? Because we talked
Yeah.
about this last week, I think, but like, dude, those trailer viewership numbers are not great. They're okay. They're not like terrible, but they're not Mando size. They're not even close to what the movies would do.
Sequels and
So yeah, and like a lot of my normie friends, man, like I just don't see them checking out Ahsoka. I'm gonna be honest. If Ahsoka had come out right around the Mando 2 time, or it was the next show, basically if we didn't have Boba, Kenobi, and Andor in a row, I feel like Ahsoka would be doing much better. But because we had all of those other shows, like it's just difficult to imagine a lot of normie people getting really excited about Ahsoka,
right.
and the same thing, by the way, is happening in the Marvel shows. I mean, Secret Invasion right now is getting absolutely horrible viewership numbers. I just like nobody cares really.
That's what I'm saying.
And the trouble is, like, as more of that happens, how do you expect to like look the audience in the face and tell them, oh no, this one's gonna be different?
Yeah. They've been
I
doing
just
that since even there was even backlash with The Force Awakens. And I made a review video when The Force Awakens came out before my channel existed, if a year before my channel even existed. And I never uploaded it. And I was trying to find it the other day on an old phone, but I couldn't. And I remember even when that movie came out, I was just like, the heck was this? It just felt very Disney-fied. And people have been talking about issues with Star Wars since The Force Awakens even came out. While
Mhm.
unanimously loved, there was still a lot of discrepancy amongst fans. And then The Last Jedi came out, and it was like, what?
Yeah.
Then for
Yeah.
2 years, we're out of it, and then Rise of Skywalker comes out, and we're like, "What the heck?"
Mhm.
And then we get, undulating kind of, we get Mando, which was amazing. The Mando season 2, amazing. And then we get Mando season 3, and we're like, "What the heck happened?" Boba, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
Kenobi, what the heck happened? Andor, sleeper show. Like, what do you I don't know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, it's weird, right? And it's crazy because they took the time. Here's what I think is so weird. They know, or they knew rather, that things were not going well. That's why Kathy asks Bob Iger to take the break. And I mean, from Disney's perspective, that's insane, right? They paid billions of dollars for this thing, and it's making billions. Now, there was obvious problems. Everybody knew it, but it was still like making billions. So look, the corporation does not care. At the end of the day, Bob Iger does not give a shit how people actually feel about Star Wars. He just cares if it's making money. So it was. And so, you know, to even have a break is crazy, right? So she goes to Bob Iger, gets the break. And then what has happened with the break? They've literally damaged the brand more. The show's damaged it more. All of the news about the projects falling apart. It's like the fans are on this roller coaster ride, like, oh, Patty Jenkins, really
Yeah.
emotional video of her father. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just crazy. Wait, it's done? You know, like just
Mhm.
getting hyped up about shit and it's just falling and falling and falling.
Yeah.
And I think people are at a point, and Star Wars just as a brand is at a point where, like, damn dog, like I don't even know what can pull the brand out of this situation other than like Ahsoka being awesome. And of course, they have Dave doing a movie. So they've already
Yeah.
like hedged their bets on this show. So it's like truly do or die. It feels like we're walking towards like a plank, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah, dude.
you know,
We don't have R2D2, you know, up on the,
yeah.
you know, he's not going to shoot out the lightsaber.
No.
We don't have him there.
He's gonna shoot out some fireworks that say goodbye as we like tumble
Yeah, he'd
into
be like, have a good
yeah.
trip.
Yeah.
Like, no, you know, we're on that. We're at that moment. And dude, I would love to keep talking about Star Wars and be super positive and happy. But at the same time, like, I want to be really realistic and, you know, honest and be like, look, man, like, shit's fucked right now. It's
Yeah.
not doing good. A lot of fans have just completely checked out. No one cares anymore all that much. And you can see it. You can see it in YouTube analytics. You can see it in chat comments. You can see it on Twitter. People just aren't nearly as excited and interested anymore as when the sequel trilogy was coming out, because they were still holding on to hope of continuing a story that George had created. And then they see all of these tumultuous emotions from Disney's lack of care. And I really think it all stems from lack of understanding of Star Wars and also hiring the wrong people for the job. So when they're focused on, you know, we're focused on hiring the best female writer or the best female director or a diverse cast or a diverse room of writers, like, that's all beautiful and dandy. You know, we all want to be included. I myself am mixed to the hilt, but at the end of the day, that isn't the priority. The priority is to find the best writer, the best director, the best everything, right? So it's not, I feel like they're focusing on the wrong things and it's making the product shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also just don't understand like why they can't just give fans what they want, you know? Like, so getting back to Barbie a little bit, like, and I know there's controversy and I know some of you guys think it's going to fall off a cliff and everyone's going to figure out that it's woke and that it'll finally go broke. But let's say that doesn't happen and it's successful. I'd probably attribute that success a lot to just giving exactly what Barbie fans are looking for, or at least doing it in such a way that no other company has done with that brand before. It reminds me a lot of like Super Mario Bros, where Super Mario Bros is like basic AF. Yeah, yeah. It's so basic, dude. It's like there's not a lot going on, but it just gives you all the things you're looking for, all the little member berries, all the fun, like
The sounds.
Yoshi's Island, friggin' the golf carts, like everything. It's awesome. Star Wars, really, honestly, bro, shouldn't even be that hard. Like, low key, Star Wars isn't
It's
even
not.
hard to write.
Dude,
Like, it's
not.
fucking mind blowing that they've not figured this out.
That's the thing. It's like, how do YouTubers do a better job of telling Star Wars than a multi-billion-dollar company that has the rights to do whatever they want? Like,
how does every video game company give us meaningful, swelling, like inspiring cutscenes? How does every single one of them know how to do that and tap into that emotion, and yet the studio can't figure it out with their shows?
how do they, you know, Lucasfilm makes, for the most part, amazing books and really continuing the characters that George created really nicely, but then their movies are just zero character development, interjected bullshit, and a lot of it's just very comical. Like, I mean, you could pick out just one of the things from the Kenobi show and be like, what is going on with this? These adults can't chase down a what was she, 5, 9?
Yeah, no, it's like laughably bad, bro. Like,
it's a joke.
Yeah, it's really silly. And the thing is, I think there's some measure of silliness you can get away with in Star Wars. Some of like the OT is silly, the prequels are silly here and there, but like
Sure.
it has the correct vibe and feeling. Like when R2's goofing off with the droids when Anakin and Obi-Wan are in trouble, like, yes, that is a comedic scene, but it's not like this Looney Tunes inept characters, like we're gonna do something just for the sake of doing it sort of thing. Like, no, it feels actually character driven. It feels, I mean, I love that stuff. I've always loved that goofy kind of stuff in Star Wars, and I think it has a place, but it's also wish fulfillment, mythic storytelling, hero's journey type stuff. So like all of that kind of stuff works together, like the comedic relief. It's just there to kind of like keep them going. It's like Sam in Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? It's just there's goofiness, there's silliness, there's lightheartedness that's interjected into the story via that stuff. But in
Yeah.
Kenobi, it's just like mindless and silly. And sometimes I feel like the show can't even acknowledge that that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to take itself seriously and it's just like being really, really silly. But again, it's like that all might not matter if they just nailed the most important part, which I also think is the simplest part, which is like the mythic shit, dark side, light side, like
Yeah.
Jedi stuff. Like,
Well, that's the thing that's really surprising to me is it seems like they're really trying to veer away from a lot of that with some of their content. And it's like you guys are kind of missing the mark here. Star Wars is very much about the Force.
Yeah.
It's very much about lightsabers. It's very much about Jedi and Sith, good and bad. Values, family values, character development. Yeah, sure, there was an entire galaxy of other things within Star Wars, like underground stuff, crime syndicates. But at the end of the day, what made Star Wars a $4 billion franchise when it was sold is the story of the Jedi and the Sith. The first 6 films. The first 6 films are what made that company $4 billion, and all the toys and memorabilia and all the crap that came with it. So to deviate from that so much and to focus on other things that really take us away from the heart of what Star Wars is, to me, you're getting a recipe for disaster. And we see
Yeah.
it plainly put. And I hope when Ahsoka comes out, it's going to be really going back to what George created. Because if it doesn't, let me tell you, a lot of people are just going to completely drop it.
Dude, it's over. Like it is absolutely over for them if this show messes it up. But I do have faith. I think it's George or it's Dave. And like you said, it just even from the trailers and what we've heard from the leaks and stuff, like it
Yeah.
seems like Dave, like, go figure, absolutely knows what's at the core of this, knows what fans want, and is giving it to them in spades. This should be really cool. Could be a really good turning point. It's scary that we've even gotten here. You know what I mean? That's like the whole thing, but we'll see. We're about a month away, folks. 2 episodes.
I know, dude. And yeah, that was the thing we were talking about behind the scenes. Is 2 episodes on the premiere. It worries me. Why are we getting to? Is it the first one is so boring that we won't be hooked?
Yeah.
Like, what are you rushing for? You don't do 2 episodes with Mando.
Yeah. I think they
What's
did for
the deal?
Kenobi, didn't they? And then they did 3 for Andor.
Yeah, but look at how Mando has, you had one shitty season and 2 really amazing seasons. So it's like you had Obi-Wan Kenobi while we got to see Ewan and Hayden return was just so underwhelming and just so whack and weird
Yep.
and bizarre, like Clown World, that I was like, what? How do you fuck that up? How do
No,
you
it's
mess
wild.
that up?
It's wild. Now, as far as the 2 episodes of Ahsoka, we can hope that together they just make such a great kind of like introduction into what's going on that maybe it'll just hook everybody. My fear with it is that I think the fate of the show might actually just be decided by how people react to the first 2, which is totally unfair, but it's just also where Star Wars is at.
That's people in general. Yeah.
Yeah, so like people are just gonna check those 2 out. Maybe honestly, just check out the one if they don't like it. But like that week, we'll basically know, like, are we in for 6 more weeks of oh my god, this is unremarkable shit, or like are people quite excited and is this like a turning point where there's going to be social media buzz? We're going to be doing pop-in videos, the streams are going to be crushing it, which is good, dude. Like that's good for everybody. It's good for the fandom, it's good for the brand, it's good for everybody. I don't want to be out here for 7 weeks being like, ah, shit, it's really over. You know what I mean? Like, pour one out. Let's kill ourselves. Like, that's what we're facing right now.
I know,
Like,
bro. I know.
It kind of feels like that.
I know. We're in it together, man. We're all everyone watching. We're all in it. Like we don't want Star Wars to fail. And anyone who says like, oh, you just want Star Wars to fail, it's like, no, dude. Even from a financial perspective, like we make so much more money when Star Wars is hyped because we're passionate. We get to talk about shit we really like. 100%. Nobody wants to sit there every day and complain and bitch about something that we used to love and how it's being destroyed by this monopoly. It's like nobody wants that. Let me tell you firsthand. Nobody wants that.
Definitely don't want it. I think in all seriousness, man, later on in life, because I feel like you and I'll probably be doing YouTube forever, but there'll be a point where I'll have to explain to people what it was like covering Disney Star Wars. Because I truly think like in 5 years from now, either Disney Star Wars will be completely different and it'll be like fine, or like somebody else is gonna be making Star Wars. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that we're literally watching maybe one of the most historic destructions of a brand ever, and I love it. And so it would be such an interesting thing. You and I should co-write a book like 5 years from now and just be like talking like going full detail, like what was it like as a fan, as a content creator, covering Disney Star Wars as it obliterated itself. Like that's fascinating.
Yeah, I think it would be a really interesting book, to be honest. A lot of people would probably be quite interested to read that.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Now that story's not done, and we've got a couple of years to kind of look and see. But yeah, this is definitely some historic stuff.